It's time to talk about the very best comic books that you could buy this week. We certainly got a lot more to talk about this week than last week. Last week was that's about as bad as it gets, but it's always kind of that way when you have a 5-release week. But this week we got the big DC Dark Crisis #1. We won't be talking about that, but there are plenty of other comic books to talk about, including 4 indie comics, 2 Marvel comics, 3 DC comics. And here with me to talk about the very best comic books is Drew from Comics Elite. How you doing, Drew?
Doing great. I am sore. I'm tired. Second day of CrossFit, but let's talk about some comics. This will alleviate.
Congratulations on Born of Blood #2. It's finally over. It was a short campaign.
Absolutely, yes. 2 weeks. Yeah, 52K in 2 weeks. That is a win. We'll gladly take that.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the indie comics first. This is my recommendation. Twig #2 from Image Comics. Scotty Young, Kyle Strahm. These characters are adorable. This world is adorable, but it definitely has a little hint of terror in it. I don't know. It's a little bit scary depending on the age of the kid, but this is absolutely aimed at a very young audience. A lot of cool stuff going on here, and we're waiting for Twig to go on his quest, but he lost something. He lost somebody that was supposed to set him on his way, and he and his little friend are trying to figure out. They're doing magic and stuff, so they're doing a lot of world building before Twig kind of really gets on his way.
Absolutely, yeah. Like you said, a little bit of darkness. It's that right amount of darkness for a very young kid. I think when you're a very young kid and you're reading this, you're going to be your imagination is going to be blown away by this. You're like, whoa, this is so cool. That is so creepy. It's perfect. Oh my, Scotty Young. Yeah, that's his name. He's done a great job with this world. And the artist, he's doing a great job too. It's very imaginative. It's very fun. And yeah, if you have a kid, they're very much going to enjoy this. It's a very fun story. It's the hero's journey. And it's a great way to do it.
The visuals are absolutely spectacular. If you want something to introduce your kids into comic books, I think Twig is a great starting point. Well done for Scotty Young. And the other comic book that I would recommend for younger kids to kind of get into DC or Marvel would be Strange Academy, not shockingly written by Scotty Young as well. He seems to have a feel for the younger kid comic books. Now, you're recommending, once again, Frank Frazetta's Death Dealer #2 from Opus Comics. I think a lot of people are going to recognize the art on the cover, but that is not all that they're going to get in this comic book. We got Mitch, Iverson, Stefano, Martino kind of fleshing out and working with this Death Dealer character Frank Frazetta made famous.
Oh, absolutely. And real quick, the covers. So Frazetta's got the B cover, and Sienkiewicz has the C cover, and he's got like a 1 in 50 that's going for Virgin cover that's going for big money right now. If you can find it, get your hands on it. But yeah, the story on the inside is beautiful. We got naked sorcerers. It's fantastic. Female sorcerers, and they're beautiful. Love it. Kerr's trying to figure out what happened to the lady he bumped uglies with last issue. And the monsters, the imagination, the visuals in this issue are crazy. It's very much like a Conan-esque comic, but with Kerr, the Death Dealer. And it is amazing. And I cannot recommend this series enough. And all I'm going to say is if you have a bad case of soyness, this will cure the soyness 100%.
And it's going to be very difficult to find. Opus Comics isn't going to be distributed as widely as other comic book publishers. So if you need it, you're going to have to go and search out for it if it's not at your local comic shop. But Drew says it's definitely worth your time and money to go find a copy of this bad boy. He's also recommending Justice Warriors #1 from Ahoy Comics. Matt Bors, probably not the best name ever for a comic book writer, but I'm sure that he turns it around. And Ben Clarkson on art. The new series from Ahoy Comics, I really like their take on Batman with the Wrong Earth series, and good to see that they got another hit coming.
Absolutely, yeah, I love the Wrong Earth. That's been one of my favorite indies the last few years. But yeah, this issue, oh my God, it is very much in the vein of the dark comedy like RoboCop or Total Recall, very much a Paul Verhoeven type film. If you like RoboCop or Total Recall, like that black humor, the dark humor, you're going to enjoy this. I mean, you have a crime-infested crap hole of a city. So imagine like San Francisco, New York, Seattle, Minneapolis, Detroit, what have you. But you have these cops. Chicago. There we go. Chicago. Yeah, it's close by here. Yeah, exactly. And it's just these cops going over the top, taking out crime. It is hysterical. And like, there's 2 stories in here, and the second one, it deals with like a mayor trying to do a comeback album. It is over the top crazy. You got to check out Justice Warriors #1.
Finally, we are going to recommend another Image comic book. Todd McFarlane is no longer writing Spawn, but you can still get the comic book for $3. He's certainly still involved with the series. Spawn 330, Rory McConville with Carlo Barberi on art. This thing is in like the best comeback story in comic books in the last 5 years. He was down there selling 10,000 copies a month, Now it's doing over 50,000 copies a month.
Selling it for $2.99 each issue, every title, $2.99. Everyone's got to be thanking him for that, and just he's doing the Lord's work right now. And this issue was just so much fun. Forsaken is on his way to find Cordelia to take her out, but is Spawn going to make it in time? I don't know. You got to get there to find out. And there have been other spawns that have been popping up as well that were displaced time spawns that died in the previous issue. But where did their energy go? And what's that energy being used for? You got to read to find out. This was a lot of fun. He's really doing a great job building this universe. And Spawn 330 is a very, very fun read. And the art is beautiful.
It's definitely very impressive what Todd McFarlane and the Spawn universe have been doing over at Image Comics. Now let's go to Marvel. We got a couple of Marvel comic books to talk about. Me personally, I am recommending Amazing Spider-Man #3. Although I do have some gripes I'm going to mention here in a second. Zeb Wells, John Romita Jr. on the story here. I think it's weird that in Amazing Spider-Man #1, you introduced all these plot elements that you've just completely forgotten about and haven't talked about since then, which certainly overshadowed the Tombstone story in ASM #1. But this is all about Spider-Man and Tombstone. It's a big fight scene. Spider-Man has been apprehended. He's kind of being broken on every single level by Tombstone. And it definitely makes Tombstone feel like, I don't know, is he more dangerous than some of these other crime bosses that we see in the Marvel Comics universe? He's not a nice guy. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I'd say you're not a very nice person, are you? Yeah. There is one page in here. It's like the very first time we see Spider-Man in this issue, when he's chained in the subway. That page is beautiful. I'm wondering if JRJR has sold that page yet, because I want to know if he's got it, because I want that page. It is beautiful. And there are times when like the stuff between Tombstone and Spider-Man is perfect, but it just really hits the brakes. It slams on the brakes when we start talking about Tombstone's son or Tombstone's daughter and Robbie Robertson's son. And it's like, I don't really care about this Romeo and Juliet thing. It's like, let's get back to Kingpin and Tombstone. Tombstone and Spider-Man. That's where it's at. And where it's going to in the next issue, I cannot wait to see what happens. This was very fun, and each issue has gotten better, I'll say, in Zeb Wells' run.
You are sticking with the Thor 26 Banner of War story, Donny Cates, Martin Coccolo.
We're right back to the galactic ass-kicking Thor and Hulk are giving each other. It is, like I said, galactic. By the end of this, holy crap, I cannot wait to see what happens in the next issue. What Donny's doing here, this event, we have polar opposites this week. You've got Donny doing it so well with the Banner of War, and then you have the worst, which is Dark Crisis from DC Comics. It's like you have one guy doing it well, the other guy not doing it so well. And you're getting every bang for your buck with Donny Cates in this Thor and Hulk series. And like I said, it's not high science. It's not a Grant Morrison mind trippy type story. It is just like rock'em sock'em robots. They're beating the crap out of each other. And if you're a kid, you're a 7, 8-year-old boy, you're going to love this. It will get you into comics.
If you're looking for the Grant Morrison high trippy stuff, DC Comics actually has your comic book this week in Aquaman Andromeda #1, Ram V. Christian Ward. This is a bit of a slow burn. The dialogue is not going to be for everybody, but my goodness, do Ram V and Christian Ward really create tone in this comic book. Very, very effective with that. It is an Aquaman that you have never seen in your life. You've never seen Aquaman look like this. Mm-hmm. I thought that they were kind of they were just doing covers where they showed this new look to him, or at least gave you a glimpse of what it's going to be. But that is not the case. This is on an Earth that we don't know. There is no Justice League. Mm-hmm. There's only Aquaman. Nobody actually knows that he's there. He's a myth. And there's been like an alien spacecraft has landed in his ocean, and all kinds of weird stuff are happening. We've got a team of scientists going down there on an expedition to kind of see what's going on. If you like Rambi, I think you're going to love this. I personally am a fan, and I just thought it was really, really good. I don't know if it's $7 good, but it's at least $6.50 good.
Absolutely. The art in this is beautiful. I loved it. And like you said, Aquaman, he looks so cool in this. It's like he's got coral reefs or whatever, coral on his uniform. It's so original and unique. I love that. But like you said, with Aquaman, it's so... We've learned in this world that he's occasionally coming up to the surface to take part in human events and things. But he meets an old lady who says, tells him that he doesn't really belong up there. The water keeps calling him back and pulling him back. He's gotten older at this point, and he's full of disappointment. So we're seeing an older Aquaman at this point, which is cool. All right, I'll take that. Old man Aquaman, sure. But he's not that old. But we got a lot of different multiple players in this story. You got the aliens, you got Black Manta, you got scientists, you got the military. it's building up to something very, very cool. And that's a very cool mystery. I love this mystery, where this alien, where it came from, how Aquaman's going to get involved with it. Yeah, you got to check this out. Do not be alarmed by the size, all right? I understand it's not going to fit into a normal short box. That's fine. Please read it, guys. You're really going to enjoy this.
You are recommending Poison Ivy #1, G. Willow Wilson, and Marcio Takara. Explain yourself, Drew.
So normally when I have my reading order, I have my projections from the worst to the best. This was like one of the first ones I read because I think this is going to be a shit show. But I straight up love this. And why did I love this? Because Poison Ivy is a villain again. She's a villain. She's a murderer. And I love it. This is who she's supposed to be. She's written as a psychopath who hates humanity. Perfect. That is who she is. And what she's planning, an extinction level event on humanity. Sold. Take my money now. She's not. All I'm going to say is, if you like the Eat, Bang, Kill tour crap story that she's in right now, you're not going to like this, because she's a straight up murderer in this, and that's how she should be. And the art in this is damn good as well. Please check this out if you're a true fan of Poison Ivy and her true roots of where she's from.
Well, last time she died off, they just planted a new Poison Ivy. You think they're going to do that this time?
I pray to God no. I hope.
Obviously, that was in Heroes of Crisis.
Yes.
You have another recommendation, and Josh and I talked about this earlier in the week on the channel, Flashpoint Beyond #2. Geoff Johns, Tim Sheridan, Jeremy Adams, Xermanico. Things are amiss on Flashpoint universe. Thomas Wayne is trying to figure it out. Who's the Clockwork Killer? Who are these speedsters? Where the hell are they coming from? Why are they all dying? We got Psycho Pirate as well. What the hell, man?
Yeah, and the other thing is, with this story, it's like, don't go in expecting something like Banner of War, all right? This is so I just recently rewatched the movie Chinatown with Jack Nicholson, which is a very slow burn, pulp noir type story. And this is very much in that same vein, where it's just like, okay, you got to realize this is very much like a pulp noir type story, a mystery that Thomas Wayne is trying to figure out, like Jack Nicholson is in Chinatown. And we learn along the way, Thomas says he's not as smart as his son. He's not as smart as Bruce is on his Earth, which is cool. It's great to see him admit that. And we get a first appearance, I think, from a new version of Two-Face in this, which is pretty cool. And we get a fun little mention of Dark Crisis. I don't blame Psycho Pirate trying to avoid that. Smart move on his part. And I'm hoping really Geoff Johns, we got a big payoff. I really hope we get a good classic reveal that we don't see coming.
Well, it certainly feels like that's what he's building to. I don't know what the importance of it is, but Geoff Johns is starting to make me believe that it somehow is important. So I do want to say thank you very much to Drew from Comics Elite for joining me today. You got any final words?
If you're going to be in Dallas next week at the Dallas Fan Expo, I'll be down there with Sean, Comics Elite, and Artist Elite. We're going to have all the Artist Elite guys there, except for Brett Booth. All going to be there signing all weekend. So, yeah, come over, come say hi, and we'll get some stuff signed for you.
I mentioned when talking about Amazing Spider-Man #3 that there were a lot of things introduced in Amazing Spider-Man #1 that they haven't really touched yet that I thought were really frustrating. I know a lot of fans agree with me that it was kind of a frustrating issue and kind of leaving that all out there. If you don't remember ASM #1 or you didn't read it or you didn't see this video, definitely check this out. Kind of see some of the stuff, the decisions that they made with ASM #1 that I think really upset some people.